Hello again. Thanks for giving me just a little bit more of your time. And if you're watching this, I hope you have already joined the Facebook group Steady As She Goes and that you have subscribed to this YouTube channel so that you can keep up with everything that's going to be happening. But this video is just a longer version of what this group is all about. So if you watched the introduction video, that was just a basic gist of what it is. But this is going to go into the whys, the what, and the how it's all going to work aspect of this whole thing. So first of all, it will probably become very obvious in this video. I am not like super high tech in all of this. My camera is pretty old, but it's capable of recording me, so that's why I am doing this or using it this way. But at this point, I don't have a lot of capability nor talent or time to edit things, and so the videos I will be giving to you will be pretty much unedited unless I figure that out. But like, as I mentioned, my camera is really old, so at this point it's not compatible to the computer program I have, and I have a pretty busy lifestyle that keeps me from figuring those things out. So the videos will not be edited. They won't have ultra great lighting. Probably most of the time I won't be very made up at all. I kind of plan to come to you like first thing in the morning sometimes when I'm not made up at all, because that is the best time for me to get stuff done. And, you know, why not be realistic with you too? But this is not going to be a fancy channel by any means. There's probably not going to be a lot of artwork or anything like that. I just want to come to you and encourage you and minister to you as best I can, following the Lord's leading for me. So also, in light of the fact that these videos will not be edited, I plan to keep them pretty short for that reason, and also for the reason that I feel like when I start talking a lot, I need to be very careful not to say things that are untrue of the Bible or of God's character. And so I want to be very careful to be straight and to the point with you so that I don't fall into that trap of just talking and saying something. For instance, I have been kind of doing some research of how I want to do this, and I was watching a YouTuber who I feel like has a pretty similar goal to mine, but she was kind of just rambling on about something, and she said something that was like borderline blasphemous and very contrary to the gospel, and it seemed like she just kind of slipped up in saying it. And not saying that making my videos shorter will keep me from ever doing that, because I'm human, and I really think that this YouTuber did not mean to say what she said, but I think it's a trap that we can fall into when we just start like talking and talking and talking. And if you know me, you know that I am rather gabby. So I want to be careful not to fall into that trap. The videos will be short. As best as I am able, because as I say that, I realize I've been rambling on about this one thing for quite a while. Okay, moving on. Videos will be short. The videos will... What I plan to have in the videos are these things. First, what they will not be. I will not be your influencer. I'm not going to give you subscriptions. I'm not going to tell you where to get your nails done, or, you know, all those things that somebody making a business on YouTube is doing. That's not my goal. This is ministry. It's not a business for me, so I'm not going to be your influencer. I do hope to influence you to follow after the only one who is worthy of being our influencer, and that's Jesus Christ. But I am not your influencer. I am also not your pastor. I don't feel that that is a biblical role for me in any way, and that is not the Lord's calling in my life, and I do not seek to be your pastor. So I am not your pastor. And also, this is not your church. I think it's very important that we are all part of a local church, and obviously with this whole COVID-19 thing going on, none of us are able to be at church. But don't skip your church service and just do this and call it good. No, that's not what this is for. This is a bonus. This is extra. This is cherry on top encouragement. It is not for, it is not your primary means of being fed in the Word. And so in light of that, the videos, some of the videos I hope will be more like a Bible study aspect, obviously again short, but deeper in the Word. Other videos will be things the Lord has taught me from His Word and the way they have impacted my life. And then I also really feel that it is important in our lives that we set the stage for the Holy Spirit to work. And sometimes that does mean routines or things that we do in a certain way to allow that to happen. So I'll be giving you examples probably from my life for how those things work. Also just general aspects of our Christian life. Hospitality is a big one I think of that I would like to share some things on. I'm a mother, so I'm sure I'll be sharing some things about motherhood. I'm a wife. I'm a pastor's wife, so maybe there'll even be videos for pastors' wives. But just kind of the aspects of my life and how the Lord is working in my life and how I want to share those things with you. So that's what the YouTube videos are going to look like. And again, if you watched the other video, the reason I want to do these YouTube videos is because I feel like it is the best way for me to get to you. I don't have time to sit down and write a blog post, and I'm not so great with, you know, all the techie stuff that goes into that, nor the commas and everything. But I can talk to you, and so it's pretty easy for me to sit down and turn my camera on and do that. So that is why I feel like YouTube is the best way for me to come to you. However, one of the reasons that I didn't really feel like I wanted to do this is because I didn't feel like I had extraordinary gifts in this way. And it's been something I've been thinking about for several months now, like almost a year even, or maybe more. But I kept pushing it away because I just thought, like, I'm not the person for that. I just need to find something like that for myself. But I've realized that the Lord is pushing me to do this, and it's kind of similar. I'm careful about saying, you know, the Lord's calling me, but it's kind of similar to me, like, if you've ever sat in a church service where the pastor has said, okay, does anybody have a praise that they want to share or testimony of God's goodness? And you don't really feel like talking that day, or maybe you're shy, but you know that you have something to share of God's goodness, and your heart starts like pounding out of your chest and you start getting like sweaty palms and stuff. And then finally you stand up and you say something that you feel like was kind of inadequate, but somebody comes up to you afterwards and says, thanks for sharing your testimony, it was encouraging, and you realize, yeah, the Lord was pushing me to do that, and I needed to be obedient. And so that's kind of how I feel. I feel like the Lord just keeps bringing this to my heart and mind and showing me ways in which I could do it. And I feel like it's time to put my best foot forward and just take a whack at it, you know? So that's why I'm here. Again, I don't feel like a professional, but there was a quote that I read recently. Actually, I read it a long time ago, but I thought of it again recently, and it was by a missionary woman who was taken captive by the Taliban, and during her captivity is when 9/11 happened. But in her book, she talks about how she felt before she went to Afghanistan, and she just said, like, I'm not an extraordinary person, and I don't have extraordinary gifts, like, why me? But she finally came to realize that God wasn't looking for someone with extraordinary gifts and talents. He was just looking for someone to love, share her life, and feel for others as he did, and he wanted faithfulness and not fame. And that's almost a direct quote. It's Heather Mercer who said that. Her story is really great. It's been a long time since I read it, but it had a big impact on me. But I have come to realize that in this journey of trying to do this, that I just need to be obedient to the Lord in this and faithful to Him and what He's calling me to do. So that is why I'm sitting here recording things for you, because I'm trying to be faithful to the Lord and obedient to Him. And I know that even if only a few of you subscribe or follow, as long as the Lord is calling me to do this, I need to be faithful to it. And I know he will grow me in different aspects as well. Even as I'm sitting here, I recognize, and people have told me this before, like, I don't look at the camera very well, and I try not to play with my hair and stuff, which is why I've got it in a ponytail, but I also have a really hard time when I'm talking on camera to catch my breath and not sound like I'm running a marathon, but these are things I'm planning to work on and grow in so that they're not a distraction to you. But I know that the Lord is my strength, and that I can look to him for the strength that I need for whatever task he gives me. And I truly feel that this is a task that the Lord has given me, and that is my heart behind doing YouTube videos. So, but please do pray for me, because I feel like it is a great temptation for me to think that, oh, maybe so-and-so will follow me, or, ooh, what would it be like if somebody invited me for an interview, which I don't do that. But I mean, like, these are the temptations that would come into my heart, thinking like, ooh, maybe this will be a big thing. And I have to be really quick to turn that over to the Lord and, again, just be faithful to him. So pray for me that the Lord would keep me humble, and the Lord would keep me true to his word in this YouTube channel. So yeah, that's why I want to be posting videos. I think I've pretty much talked about all that or like the gist of what I want to post. Oh, also, I like to sing. I think a huge part of encouraging one another is worshiping and song together. So I'm sure there'll be times where my husband sits next to me with the guitar and we do a cover of a favorite worship song or something. So that will be on here. Occasionally maybe I'll share like a recipe along with, you know, some biblical encouragement or something. But then I have to figure out how to set this camera up in the kitchen. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all works out. But yeah, I guess the whole point of doing this longer version is for you to kind of get an understanding of where my heart is in all of this, and to know how to pray for me as I seek to lead you as I feel the Lord is calling me to do. So, I think that's about it on that aspect. I had everything written down on my computer, but I didn't open it up. So all needs to come from memory at the moment. Let's see. Oh, these are some cautions I want to give on the Facebook group. I said, like, you could share prayer requests, you could share testimonies of things, and I just want to say, if that involves other people ever, be careful not to share things without talking to somebody first. For instance, if your friend has a problem that you want to bring as a prayer request to the group, talk to him or her first to make sure that it's okay. Because that would then be public knowledge. And I think a lot of times, we even have to be careful about this in our own church settings, prayer request time can become gossip time. And I really don't want that on this group. I also want you to be careful, and don't let this intimidate you to not post. But be careful when you post things to post things that are coming from a biblical basis of truth, and not just your own opinion or what you think is cool or right. I think a lot of times we have to weigh our Christianity or our following after Christ in the balance of, is this like Christ, or is this like my Christian culture? Is this coming from the Bible, or is this coming from my ideals of Christianity? And so be careful that whatever you say is biblical. It comes from the Bible, and it's not just your opinion of something or something that you have learned from your Christian culture. And I will be talking more about that in future videos, because I think Christian culture is actually a pretty huge trap that we fall into as Christian women, that we follow other Christians instead of following Christ. But again, more on that in another video. Let's see, prayer request. Oh, and then another thing, this is huge. This is another caution. Be careful whatever you put on the group, that you are not prideful in what you're putting. Or that you are pointing the glory to the Lord and not to yourself. And again, please don't let what I'm saying intimidate you from ever posting. I want people to post things. But I think, again, something I see Christians doing a lot on social media is giving themselves or their church the glory that only God deserves. So let's be really careful when we're sharing something of God's glory, that we're giving Him His deserved glory and that we're not taking the credit for it. We are simply vessels that He uses to accomplish His will, and all power and all glory belongs to Him alone. So yeah, I think that is the gist. I really hope that as this group grows, it will become a really helpful network. I want it to be a fellowship and an encouraging place to be, but I also think it would be so cool if you meet a new friend on here, or if you are traveling to a different part of the country and you need some place to stay that you might recognize, oh, so-and-so is from that place, and maybe I could reach out to her, and that we can be ministering to one another in this group in tangible ways and not just on social media. So really be considering how we can make the group that way, and I will of course take suggestions from you. Maybe if you know me personally and you would like me to talk about something you know of my life, something maybe I went through at one point or something like that you think would be helpful to the group, suggest that to me. If you see me doing things that are just very distracting, or things you feel like I need to work on as far as my presentation in front of the camera, I've got thick skin. You can say that to me. So I really would appreciate your help in any aspect, and your suggestions, questions you might have. I want to be as available to you as I can be. However, I do want to say, again, this is not something I'm looking at as my job. It's something I'm trying to be obedient to, and it's not as much of a priority for me as my motherhood is, or the women of my church are, or my marriage. And not in that order. But I have a lot of responsibilities here, and so there may be times where I'm not able to fully respond to you, but I would like you to recognize that I have to take care of my children. I have to be a wife to my husband. I homeschool my kids, so that takes a lot of time, and I'm ministering to my local church. So if ever this position becomes too overwhelming, then I'm going to need to step back a little bit, because I need to be faithful to the things that the Lord has presently placed here in my life. But I would like to be able to do as much as I can here, and I think we could all see a lot of growth from coming together in fellowship. So yeah, I think that is most of what I wanted to say. I guess if there's something else that I want to touch on, I can do that in future videos. But the next video I would like to do would be kind of an introduction of myself. As I mentioned, I've known a lot of you in the past, but the years change us, and so I'd kind of like to share where I'm at now, my salvation testimony, where the Lord has brought me from in my Christian life. For some of you, that might be a little bit of an apology, because there was certainly a time in my life where I was pretty pious, and I want to talk through that. But I also would like to have a bit of a Q&A with you guys, where you just ask me whatever questions you want and I try to answer them. So go ahead and leave the questions for that in the comments of the Facebook post of this video, and I will do my best to answer those questions for you. And I'm really looking forward, again, to rekindling relationships with you guys. A lot of you I went to school with, or I roomed with, or I sat around a prayer group table with you. Maybe I worked at camp with you. Maybe I was a leader of yours in a ministry, or you were a leader of mine, or we've ministered together in some aspect. Maybe you were at one of the several churches I've been a part of in the last few years. And I just really want to get to know you again, and to be able to reach out to you as a Christian sister should, and I want you to be able to reach out to me too. So again, if you will just plug yourself into this group and invite your friends who are Christian women, that we can just build a great network here, I would be so thankful to you for that. And you know, I can't do this myself. I need help doing this, and you have a part to play in it as well. So come along, follow after Christ as I do, and pray for me, pray for one another, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Bye-bye.